Here's the complete narration script, 864 words. The oxygen hoarding reason your own blood hides a warning sign from you until it's already too late. And in 2021, at Lake Baikal, Siberia, that same warning turned 25 miles of the world's deepest lake blood red overnight. Fishermen woke up, looked out at the water, and froze, because water isn't supposed to look like that. Not there. Not in the coldest, cleanest, oldest lake on Earth. And nobody, not one scientist standing on that shore, could tell them why. Here's the part they don't want you thinking about. Your blood only turns dark, almost black, when it's starved of oxygen. It's your body's silent alarm, hidden inside you, going off long before you ever feel sick, long before a doctor would catch it on a scan. Lake Baikal has the exact same alarm buried inside it. It holds nearly 20% of all the unfrozen fresh water on the planet, more than all 5 of North America's Great Lakes combined. 1 mile deep in places. 25 million years old, older than most mountain ranges, older than the animals living inside it. And in the summer of 2021, its surface began bleeding red in patches so large they could be seen from satellites in orbit. Locals who had lived beside that water their entire lives said they had never seen it do this. Something inside that lake was starving, and it was screaming the only way it knew how. At first, the explanation sounded almost comforting. Scientists blamed an algae bloom, a microscopic organism called chlamydomonas, which turns red under intense sunlight and warming water. Case closed, they said. Climate change, warmer summers, thinner ice cover letting more light hit the surface. A tidy answer, the kind that lets you stop worrying. But the red didn't behave like a normal bloom. It didn't fade evenly. It didn't follow the sun. In some bays, it appeared in cold, shaded water where algae shouldn't bloom at all. And divers sent down to check the shallow zones found something the headlines never mentioned. The color wasn't just on the surface. It was underneath, too, deeper than any algae bloom has ever been recorded on this lake. That's when the story stopped making sense. Because down at the bottom of Baikal, past where sunlight has ever touched, researchers found endemic sponges animals found nowhere else on Earth, turning the exact same rust-red color, bleaching, dying, and sponges don't photosynthesize. They don't care about sunlight or warm summers. Whatever was staining them was coming from somewhere sunlight can't reach, somewhere below, somewhere older than the algae theory could explain. Lake Baikal isn't just a lake. It sits inside an active continental rift, a crack in the Earth's crust that is physically pulling apart, right now, a few millimeters wider every single year. It's the same kind of tear that's splitting East Africa in two. Down in that crack, heat and pressure force mineral-rich, iron-heavy water up from deep fractures in the crust, water that has sat oxygen-starved in total darkness for who knows how long. The instant that ancient water rises and touches oxygen, just like the instant your blood clots and meets open air, the iron inside it rusts, turns red, in real time, which means the lake wasn't blooming. It was bleeding, from a wound in the earth itself, and the algae bloom on top may have only been dressing the surface of something already happening underneath. Scientists pulled water samples from the deepest fracture zones and found iron concentrations spiking in exact correlation with the red patches, but only in some years, not others, with no clean pattern anyone has been able to predict. If a rift this size is venting iron-rich, oxygen-starved water to the surface on an unpredictable schedule, that's not a cosmetic problem. It means gas and mineral pressure is building and releasing from below in ways nobody is fully tracking, in one of the most remote, least monitored regions on the planet, thousands of miles from the nearest research station with real-time sensors. It means an entire ecosystem found nowhere else on Earth. Those endemic sponges, filtering the water clean for millions of years, keeping Baikal some of the purest fresh water on the planet, is dying in real time from something rising out of the crust itself. Lose the sponges, and the water that made this lake famous stops being clean. And it means the pristine lake tourists still swim in every summer sits directly above a fault line, actively tearing the continent apart, one imperceptible millimeter at a time, with almost no one watching what comes up next. So here's the question nobody has answered yet. If Lake Baikal's blood is rift blood, ancient, oxygen-starved water finally reaching the surface after millions of years underground, what happens the day that crack finally widens enough to let it all up at once? And if one of the most studied lakes on Earth has been hiding this warning sign in plain sight for years, what's rising, right now, beneath the Great Lakes nobody's even thinking to check?